Hi, boys and girls. Here is part 1 of Chapter 12, Charlotte's Web. So, again, you'll need these materials. You'll need your pen, your packet of Charlotte's Web, and, of course, our book, Charlotte's Web. I can't believe we're already on Chapter 12, you guys. This is crazy. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the questions first in our book. So let's go ahead and go to Chapter 12. And if you still need to gather your materials, boys and girls, go ahead and do so. Okay. I am going to move on with the questions, starting at number 1. What was the purpose of Charlotte's meeting? So it looks like they're going to have a meeting in this chapter. Number 2, the animals decided to ask Templeton to help. What could the rat do? A, find a book. B, find a newspaper clipping. Or C, find a stamp. Number 3, how did they convince Templeton to help Wilbur? What did they say? Number 4, what is Templeton going to bring back from the dump? A paper bag, a magazine clipping, or leftover food? And we'll talk about magazine clippings in just a moment. And finally, there's a web drawn on the bottom here. Number 5, write Charlotte's second word on the web. So we have to write the word she's going to choose. Excuse me. And then on the back is just a coloring page. This coloring page is optional, boys and girls. You do not have to color it if you don't want to. And I thought it would just be fun. It's their meeting. I think that's what Chapter 12 is called. It's called the meeting. Let's take a look at some of the new vocabulary words. You know, I like this part. The new vocabulary words that we're going to see in Chapter 12. The first word is idiosyncrasy. Silly word, right? Idiosyncrasy. And it just means an unusual behavior. And then our next word is a slogan. Actually, some of you might know all about slogans. A slogan is a catchy phrase that is used in advertising. Well, what is advertising? Well, it's when people will try to sell you things, and they make like commercials, or they make posters about them. So all the commercials that you watch, it's an advertisement to sell you something that you might want to buy. Here are some really well-known slogans or advertisements that I thought of. So one of those advertisements I was thinking of was McDonald's, right? You know the colors of McDonald's. It's red and yellow. And what's the first thing that you see when you see how do you know that there's a McDonald's around? There's a big yellow arch, right? So that is special because that's the type of advertisement letting people know that, hey, there's a McDonald's here. Do you guys know the slogan for McDonald's? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Have you heard that? I thought so. Okay, another one that I thought of was Nike. Have you ever heard of Nike? Nike is a type of company that makes athletic wear. They're mostly known for their shoes. Do you know what their slogan is? What words or catchphrase do they use that just sticks in your mind? I hope you thought of the words, just do it, right? Just do it. That's their slogan. And then you come up with more slogans after that. But that's just one of them. And on the side right over here, you can see that there's all these different advertisements that they've created. Find your greatness, explosive speed, gravity will never define you, rise through adversity. These are make yourself fit. These are advertisements, but their slogan is just do it. Okay, or even just the Nike swoosh, right? That little swoosh sign. So that's another one. How about if I showed you just this? Would you know what I was talking about? Yeah, that's the sign for Starbucks. Just like McDonald's, when we see the picture of this, she's actually a mermaid. When we see that, we know that there's a Starbucks nearby. There doesn't have to be any words. That's the advertisement that Starbucks uses. Okay, that's the advertisement that they use. So those are just some advertisements that I was thinking about. Okay, now they're going to talk about magazines in this chapter. And when we think of magazines, they're kind of like they look like books, but they're a lot thinner. You can find them maybe when you go to the dentist or a doctor's office, and they're there for people to read. Okay, here are some examples of magazines. These are some grown-up magazines, and then there are types of kids magazines right here. These are really great magazines, by the way. I used to look at them when I was a kid too, so they're really awesome. And then they'll talk about something called magazine clippings. Now, magazine clippings is when you actually cut out things from a magazine. And usually you cut out like words or letters or maybe even pictures, and you can make it into something else. But they're going to use a magazine clipping for a different reason in this chapter. And here's kind of an example of magazine clippings. You see how there's all these letters here? So they all look different because they're taken from different advertisements in magazines. There's also ones that have like words on them. Okay? So those are magazine clippings. And now, let's get back to Charlotte's Web, Chapter 12.